Hi, I'm Graham Richardson-Locke, FESPA's Head of Associations and Technical Lead. I'm very pleased to be joining you all today for the first of the new FESPA Innovations and Trends virtual events, where we'll see the latest product launches in the wide format print community. So let's get started with this opening session, where I'm happy to put my questions on some key trends affecting the wide format sector to our panel. Firstly, I'd like to welcome FESPA's President-elect, Christophe Alsinac, founder of the ATC Group based in Lyon, France. His business was formed in 1991 and has taken a lead in developing sustainable solutions for its clients in point of sale and large format graphics. We're also fortunate enough to be joined by Keith Farrell, Cactus Imaging's General Manager of Operations. This Sydney-based grand format printer has an international reputation for efficiently printing large-scale outdoor advertising applications and retail point of sale utilizing the latest digital technology. Finally, I'm delighted to welcome Javier Rodriguez Centeno, Director General of Grupo Panorama. His organization was set up in 1962 and has become a leading printer of retail, event, and the print visual communications customers need. Can you all please tell us a little bit about yourselves? Maybe you start, Christophe.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you today. I have to speak about the COVID-19 crisis because it's made a fundamental impact on our business. There has been a financial cost, and also the organization of our company has changed. We are fortunate to work across different sectors, as the event sector stopped completely in France during this period. Other sectors continued their activities, such as the industrial sectors, interior decoration, and car wrapping. We also use our time to work on the organization of our teams and the implementation of a management ERP. We call it MIS in English. We have updated all of our communication and marketing to be ready when the business reactivates. The first lesson we have learned is that we must be more aware of the activity level across all of our customer groups and not depend on a single market to balance our portfolio. The biggest lesson we have learned is to have empathy and stay very close with our teams, because employees have also suffered personally during this period. Thank you, Graham.
Thanks, Christophe. Javier, please let our audience know about you.
Well, first of all, thanks for being here. It's a real pleasure to be here. Well, I am Javier Rodriguez. I am General Manager, as Graham said, of Panorama Group. I am 43 years old and I have 3 children. All of them are boys, so you can imagine what I have in my house. It's a real chaos, just like the COVID-19, more or less. I'm Spanish from Madrid, and as a Spanish guy, I love improvisation. You know, Spaniards are always improvising. And I am a positive person. I always think that the 99% of the things that we fear will never happen. So let's play. That's the thing. I'm here to share with you some reflections about these hard times that we have been having since the COVID-19. So I expect to share my point of view, and I expect that you enjoy it.
Perfect. Thank you, Javier. And Keith, last but not least, perhaps you can give us a few words of introduction.
Yeah, sure. Look, welcome everybody. We started Cactus Imaging in New Zealand in 1992 in partnership with Warwick Spicer. Both him and I set the business up there when we moved to Australia. Only 12 months after that, and things have progressed tremendously well since then. Now work with Warwick's son Nigel, who looks after Cactus these days and does a great job. But we set up in Australia as a production plant in 1996. Things just really took off from there. We ended up opening up in India in the year 2000, and that was just a huge setup. And then obviously we worked with Impact Imaging in the United States. So we gathered vast knowledge over a short period of time, and it stood us in good stead today, whereas we're one of the largest grand format printers in the Southern Hemisphere. So all's good so far, and look forward to many more.
Perfect. Thanks, Keith. So we've got a great panel today. So thanks for letting us know about yourselves. Let's move on to our questions for today that will allow our attendees to understand your perspectives on the trends that are impacting on this on the wide format sector. So the first question, which I think, Christoph, in your introduction, you gave a good kind of summary of your view on, is that, you know, COVID-19 has accelerated changes across many sectors. What will be your key focus over the next 12 months? And what has been the biggest lesson from living through the pandemic? Christoph, if there's anything you wish to add to your opening introduction, that's great. Otherwise, we can move on to Javier.
We focus a lot of productivity for sure, because we are waiting for a lot of new business coming, and we feel actually that it will grow up a lot and very fast. What's very important to know also is that in France, we reopen the events, and we have to organize all of production system to be aware to accept it and to predict it. We have to organize our process also, and to be more efficiently on the sale administration, artwork processing, and proofing, all become faster and responsive. We will invest a lot also on the workflow to be best for the future.
Okay, perfect. So Keith, over to you on this one. So I suppose your key focus over the next 12 months and the biggest lesson that you've learned in the pandemic.
Yeah, probably the biggest lesson that we've learned from a pandemic, and bear in mind, we haven't been affected as much as what you have in Europe. Things sort of were a bit shaky for a couple of months in maybe March, April last year, but things have progressed to the stage where, for instance, in New South Wales, Sydney, we haven't had a case for a long, long time now of COVID at all. So we didn't go through the traumatic experiences that you may have in Europe. But by saying that, I suppose one of the big things that we learned out of it was that is the emphasis on our staff and to look after them and care for them, you know, both in a mental state and so forth. I think the worst we came to is that we had people take any excess annual leave, go down to 4 days a week, all to help out the business at that particular stage. And it was very, very important that we looked after our staff and their families. We were very fortunate we never actually laid anybody off at all. And things really, as I say, other than that 2 or 3 months, have really got back to normal for us. But saying that, it's really, really important. And we had a lot of things in place before the pandemic, and it was just working through them, you know, diversification, automation, you know, speed, quality, efficiencies, get closer to your customers, all that sort of stuff. And you know, from what I understand, our business is we've focused very much on a winning strategy, whether that be to focus on innovation, high value products, or improving the level of automation, work more efficiently, and obviously reduce costs. So it's something that we've kept a very strong eye on, and as I say, it stood us in good stead.
Okay, that's great, and I'm sure we're going to learn more about that as we go through the questions. Javier, what would be your feeling on this question?
Well, as Keith has said, things in Europe has been really very different. I would say that, well, I remember March 2020, where we were at the very beginning of the pandemic, and we got to reduce our activity by 99%. So we were only just producing 1% of what we were supposed to do. Well, this is a lot. And what we have learned is that we are really vulnerable, much more than we thought. I remember 3 years ago when I was with my with my team, and we were working in a post-mortem strategy. It was an exercise where we have to think why could we close, and we have to write it down. And we remember that I remember that we talk about two different things: the retail, which is going down and down, and the environmental. Okay, because each day and each year there is more conscious about the publicity and all the support that we create, and even if we can do them in a green way, but it's also a big threat. But none of us thought in something like this. When it suddenly arrives, we were crazy. We didn't know what to do. But as I told you at the very beginning, we are Spanish guys. We love improvisation, and we improvise a lot, and we change many things. We started to create a lot of new products for COVID-19, and we could get out of this situation. And what we have learned that we have to be much more flexible. Our company is working to be much more flexible in two different ways. We want our people to do very different tasks, and we want the company to do also very different things. That's why we are a group. Right now we have 4 activities: printing activity, fixing or installation, e-commerce, and we have also digital signage. And I think that based on these activities, we can find a better future where we won't be so vulnerable as we have seen that we are.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, let's move on to our second question in this session, and that's the second and third questions are related. So the second one is, how important is software automation when customers are demanding shorter lead times? And then the third one is that with smaller runs and more design variants being normal, what challenges do these present? So Christoph, perhaps you'd like to come in on this one.
For us, this is a priority as the process allows to reduce touch point and process order more efficiently. Cutting, cell administration, what I said before, and artwork processing and proofing all become faster and responsive. Whilst the development investment is significant, the benefits of workflow automation are transforming the speed at which process orders. It's absolutely necessary to think about it.
Okay, thank you. Javier, I know you when we were talking earlier, you were looking at these being so closely related, these questions, that you wanted to address them at the same time. So perhaps you can give us your insight.
Yeah, well, automation for us is the future. The market is reducing prices and delivery time, and each day our market is more and more complex. There is a big range of materials, and it brings us a lot of challenges. So for us, automation is the base for everything because we can deal with the complexity. We have about 1,500 orders per week, and we have everything controlled thanks to our ERP. So also it gives us the opportunity of being faster because there are three keys in the market: quality, price, and the speed of the market. And in our case, for us, we are focused on the speed of the market, and we think that with the automation, working with digital pools from one department to the other, and going down to the factory, we can control everything and do it faster and in a profitable way, because there is no other way. Otherwise, you need to have more people, and right now is a very difficult time for having a lot of people in your company. Even we have even we have passed about through this crisis in a very good way because we only decreased 4%. We have reduced our team a lot because we see that margins are getting lower and lower, and the market is asking us for more. And the only way is to automate the company, the factory, and all the teams.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Keith, I suppose in the outdoor advertising area, speed to market is incredibly important for responsiveness to campaigns, and also switch outs are more regular. So how do you think software automation and these variants, how do you address that?
Yeah, look, it's very, very important. And I suppose, if anything, and I probably hate to admit it, it's our Achilles heel in a way. And these cancellations or postponements of FESPA haven't helped uh, as far as we're concerned, because it's hard to beat the face-to-face dialogue with automation software and things like that, and to get a broad perspective of what's out there and what's available. It appears to us that there's not one particular program that can do everything that we require. We have our own production system, which we call CPS. It's Cactus Production System, and it's been developed ongoing by us, but it's more of a production. It's more of a production tool. It helps obviously assist with workflow, and we have that in with a number of our top clients, for instance, where we're working on them entering in the jobs themselves. It's a live system, so they can follow the progress within the system itself, right through to dispatch and then to invoicing. It's not the be and end all, and it's something that we're working on, especially Nigel at the moment, working on it with a great deal of zest. It is extremely important. There's no two ways about that. Um, the automation carries right through. It's not just from a software perspective, but right through the sector, from print to finishing and so forth. So, yep, extremely important.
Okay, great. Thank you. So with our fourth question today is that brands expect quality to be built in, irrespective of the production process. What more do you want from printer manufacturers? I thought there's one to go back to the vendors with. So, Javier, maybe you'd like to take this one first.
Yeah. Well, printer manufacturers are conscious about the challenges of the market, and they are focused on automation and also on being more flexible in order to make more changes. Because as we were talking before, each day there is more variety and the runs are smaller. So they are focused on these things, and I think that we are in the correct path. But the thing is, um, automation is very complicated because many of us has started 1, 2, 3, 5 years ago, and we are at the middle or at the end of the path. So incorporating new systems in our companies is sometimes very difficult. So systems must be open to our framework because it's really hard to find the correct tool, the correct ERP for your company, and when you have it, you can't change everything because there is a new machine which works in some way. So the thing is, we need the systems to be open and flexible to incorporate them in our framework. So for me, this is the biggest challenge for us right now, talking about the automation and talking about having new machines in our company.
So having APIs that you can connect into your ERP, that kind of situation is far more useful to you than seeing a kind of all singing, all dancing ecosystem that doesn't take into account your historic activity.
Yeah, and the thing is that they give you the full package, but maybe we don't need it. We just need a small piece to put into our system. So we need them to think about our real needs. We don't need a complete system who has been created and thought by a guy far from our home. We have our systems. We
Yeah.
started to create our ERP 5 years ago, and right now we can get out of this path. Okay.
And I suppose being that the market's very broad, there are environments where those full kind of ecosystem turnkey operations may have immense value, but yeah, it's just there's never a one size fits all, is there? It's got to be tailored and personalized. Christoph, what would you like to see from printer manufacturers to assist you in your journey?
Okay, first, I'm totally agree with Javier said before me. This is automation and workflow for sure. But today, the quality of the work must be as agreed. The customers are more and more demanding, and we feel that they are right. It is up to us to adapt to this demand. And for the manufacturer, what I ask, it's more versatile production machine, printers, and with high color stability. The high color stability is very, very important.
Okay, perfect. Keith, what would you like to add on the request from the printer technology companies for your business?
Look, one of the things that has been my pet hate with a number of manufacturers over the year, and I've talked to a number of them. One is the automation with the finishing side of things. The printers have got faster and faster and faster over the years, and I think that they make a nest for themselves. This is that it's all very well, you might have half a dozen printers that can print 400 square meters now, but if you don't have the automation and the finishing capability, it's a total waste of time. You're only as quick as your slowest point. And we've invested a lot of money over the years on automation in the finishing area. And it's pleasing to note now that there's a number of the printing companies, Durst for one, who is now manufacturing equipment with inline finishing. We're working very closely with Fotoba. We work very closely with Fotoba and another company called Plasgromet. I met Plasgromet at FESPA. Saw the opportunities that existed with their equipment and spent a lot of time working with them just to hone it to meet our requirements. The remote servicing is another pet hate. There's not enough of it, and it's been brought to bear certainly when the COVID situation, where people can't travel anymore. You've got technicians in various parts of the countries who can't get to you because of the COVID possibilities, and those with inline servicing has made a big difference, and it's a necessity as far as I'm concerned. But one thing I will say is that the manufacturers are starting to listen more. One is, for instance, in the fabric side of things, a lot of the die sub printers are now coming up with inline calendars. Once upon a time you were printing onto fabric, then moving it to a calendar outside of the business or within the business, but in a different part of it to get the finished product. And now it's all, a lot of them are in line. It's making such a difference in as far as improving outputs and things like that. So that's where I see my pet hate. It certainly is in the inline finishing side of things. I think it would be a boom for an operator or a manufacturer to try and focus on this a bit when they sell a printer. If it can print at 400 square meters an hour, we need to finish it at 400 square meters an hour. That's the way forward.
Okay, that sounds like a great challenge. So let's hope that it moves in that direction.
Well, it's starting to happen, Graham.
Yeah. Moving on to the next question. And Keith, maybe you want to take this one first to continue on. So, do you see increased demand for printed products and services incorporating more sustainable materials and processes?
Yeah, absolutely, we do. We've got clients coming to the market, well, coming to us now and saying that they will only deal, for instance, with carbon-free products from 2023. We've been put on notice. We've invested a lot of money in products. As you know, we print a large majority of the billboards in Australia, like hundreds of thousands of square meters of them. And we've been working with a fully recyclable billboard product now for well over 18 months, I would think, and probably a third of our billboards printed now are on these fully recyclable products. And it's all very well being recyclable, but whether it's life after market that really makes the difference. And we get ours now recycled. In fact, we have clients who actually buy back the finished product, whether it be in street furniture, fence posts, which I can show you from here. I'm sure you can see that. That's from a recycled billboard. These things don't rot. They're solid. They can be used as railway sleepers, street furniture. Even trophies have been manufactured out of recycled billboards. So there is an afterlife, and I think that's really, really important. But certainly PVC-free self-adhesives. Now there's fabrics and so forth. It's just, if you're not working on that side of the business now, you're going to get well and truly left behind, because the major clients and companies are starting to demand it. And as I say, we've been put on notice, carbon-free products by the end of 2023. So we work very, very closely with the manufacturers of the material, and we're getting there, making great progress.
Fantastic. And I think it all points towards more circularity, doesn't it, in the business, which is where we need to be, preserving our resources. Javier, what would you have to say about the sustainability drivers in your business?
Well, Graham, as you know, crisis always change a lot of things. And before COVID-19, customers were willing to pay for it. They wanted to go green, and they were pushing us all the time with every production that they give us. They were interested in every improvement about environmental, but it's true that things has changed a little bit, and right now they are not pushing with the same strength. Even though we are environmental certificate from 2005, we are FSC certified. We go with the Sustainable Development Goals of the UNO. And also, last month, we installed solar panels in order to be more green and in order to reduce the carbon footprint. Indeed, we are in a new project trying to measure our carbon footprint. And we want to follow this path because there's no doubt that sustainable products are the future. we are ready. We have a different alternative for each product that we sell, and we want to send a message to our customers. We are here. We can do it better. So let's go.
Okay, great. Thank you. Christoph, we've spoken many times about sustainability, and I know it's a powerful passion of yours. Perhaps you'd like to give us your insight from the point of view of your life at ATC Group.
Yes, we work on this project since 15 years, and we can say that we learn every day about it. It's a very, very, very long way to go there.
Yeah.
But now in France, it is a current trend, but it's above all an opportunity to create profit, meet social responsibility, and protect resources. You have to explain the benefits to the client because it can be a benefit. It's not enough to choose a PVC-free printing medium. The printing and the finishing process must be carried out with the lowest possible impact on the environment. It is necessary to think, anticipate, and suggest the recycling method of the product to the customer. It's one of the more important things because you can print something, but you have to carry on after. You must therefore be able to recover the printed products to recycle it after use. Of course, the offer must remain competitive compared to the traditional solution. It can be more expensive. Not cheaper, but the same price.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I think for those watching, there are interesting areas to be looking at, things like triple bottom line, people, planet, profit, and there's lots of information available on this topic. Also, a good location for reference is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and they actually have a document that I would really suggest is very worth looking at if you're involved in plastic products, and that's the vision of a circular economy for plastics. You can find, all of this kind of guidance for free, and I think has real value. Okay, great. So on to the next question. Javier, I think this one's right up your street, actually. So do you see an opportunity for B2B print businesses using workflow automation and web to print to build revenue from B2C clients?
Yes, of course. Well, as I said before, we started with this 5 or 6 years ago. We were thinking about this 10 years ago, maybe, but we weren't prepared. We were doing some tests with different systems. We wanted to be more flexible, we wanted to be faster, and we wanted to be automatized. We wanted to be automatic. So this is a great challenge because it's hard to imagine what you need, and it's hard to do it because we are no IT people.
Yeah.
Even we try to. Well, indeed, some of us finish learning to program. I know to program since 5 years ago, something like this, because in the end, we prefer to put the work in our own hands because we were tired of saying what we wanted to do, and in the end, we didn't have what we need. So, in order to be more productive, it's essential to be completely automatized. We do it in the two channels that we have, B2C and B2B. In
Yeah.
B2C, we have several platforms, and from the platforms, from the moment that the customer push the button until it is already printed and we have the proof of delivery, everything is automatic. We sell our cheapest product about €5. So if you want to earn money with €5, you have to automatize everything.
It has to be automated. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a complex network and a complex framework with a lot of programs who talk each other and which talk each other, and it keep us connected with the customer, and it allows us to do it everything very fast. In the case of B2B, is similar. The necessity isn't so urgent, but we did it for B2B too, because we were a B2B company from history, so it was for us easier. And we, what we do here is to connect the customers with the factory through our key account managers. Our key
Yeah.
account managers work with the rest of the company in digital. We are 4.0 factory. And we don't work with paper here in the office. We print a lot of paper. Don't misunderstand. But we are completely digital. So we are much faster than we were in the past. Right now, we are able to send a quotation in an average of 13 minutes, which
Yeah.
is real fast in graphics. In the past, we take between 24, 36 hours. It was a lot. And right now we are in 13 minutes. So we connect the customers to the factory through our key account managers. They have a complete vision of the process because we know where is the product, if if it is being printed or cutted or whatever. We have the proof of delivery. We can manage the artworks. The customer have a special platform where can upload the artworks and check them and prove that everything is okay. So I think that this is the way we have to do it, because in the future there will be less people, more machines, and automation is the future.
And I think also it's important to note that the education of print buyers is, the technical understanding and knowledge is just not as good as it has been maybe at points in the past. So the process of simplifying and automating the process is kind of profoundly important for those people. When you look at the success, I was reading about Printful in the merch sector earlier on today, and they've just passed 200 million in turnover from in 10 years they went from 20 million to 200 million, and I think that it's all because the process is simple, convenient, and quick. And there are many examples of where web to print challenges some of the established B2B business models. But I think also the B2B business models bring great creativity, flexibility, and imaginative solutions to products. So I think this it's very difficult to do everything with an automated workflow, isn't it? Sometimes you need still to bring your creativity into play. I think Christoph, I think creativity is one of your middle names, so perhaps you'd like to give your response before I move on to Keith.
Yes, I think that for the B2B business, for sure it's one of the solution, of the best solution. But for the I don't speak about creativity. I just speak for printing solution.
Yeah.
But be careful if we are talking about B2C for me, because I'm an industrial and I have an industrial culture. Because we are talking about very small quantities, and we are to organize all our workflow. When you speak, Javier, about €5 for for the first production, In my opinion, you have to master the technique and become an expert before entering this type of market. It's not my goal today, but I know that for some companies it can be a very very good project for the future, but not for me today.
Okay, Doug, thank you. And Keith, I would imagine that the workflow automation side of B2C is more important to you than framing around sorry, B2B rather than B2C. But what's your view of the question?
Look, workflow automation is very, very important, and I'll probably use an analogy, was to give us, to put it into some sort of context. 10 years ago in the outdoor industry, outdoor advertising sites used to chain on an average of 2 change-outs per year. Today, they're every 4 weeks, and soon they're going to fortnightly change-outs. So workflow automation is incredibly important for us. It probably adds into, are your clients looking to simplify the ordering process? Well, for us, yes, they are, and it's imperative with the volumes, certainly in the outdoor billboards. As I say, they've gone from thousands to tens of thousands with no extra sites. In fact, a big reduction in sites in some ways because of the digital side of things in Australia, but it's incredibly important.
Okay, thank you. This question may seem slightly. Oh, sorry, Javier.
May I have a moment?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Well, I remember visiting a very big factory in Europe. It was one of the biggest web to print in Europe. And when I was there, I was amazed about everything. And I was with the production manager, and I told him, "Oh, I love the way you organize everything. How do you do that?" And they say, "Everything's about software." So I said, "Which software is this one?" And he told me, "It's VIP software." And I said, "VIP? I don't know. I love ITs, but I don't know this software." And he said, "Oh, yes, it's very important program." So that's the question, and that's the key. If we want to be automatized, we need to invest and learn a lot about software. We are accustomed to buy a lot of machines, but in the present and in the future, we will be investing a lot of money in software.
For sure, and I think products from products like InFocus Switch, products like One Vision's wide format workflow. There are great software solutions out there for doing the interconnections between Photoshop, Outlook, MIS, and everything through to automating delivery labels and shipping. So there are so many tools available, aren't there? It's just it's a kind of I think a cultural shift to moving the planning and considerations to the front end of the thinking rather than being responsive. It's all about being proactive, I think. Okay, Christoph. So simplification of order processes.
Yes, of course. Most of our customers have experiences of consuming offset technology, and their offset suppliers have long been offering web to print solution. We have to respond to offer this solution to our customer now.
Yeah. Okay. Keith, anything you'd like to add?
Look, we have our system in with a couple of our top clients, for instance, where the ordering process is operated by them. And for us, it's very important because the more systems we put in place with the client, they become more vertically integrated. And it makes them very difficult to move on, to be honest with you. But it's an important part of our processes as well. So it's extremely important.
Yeah, I think if you treat people right, you give them convenience and straightforward processes for ordering and processing. They want to stick around, don't they? I know that from my own experience of wo- some of the print procurement processes that I'm involved with at FESPA, we use a web to print provider, and principally the reason, like I had a case where I had to order 10 different books to be printed for very short turnaround times for a press event in Madrid that I was attending, and I was traveling from Slovakia to Dallas to Dusseldorf over a period of a few days, and it meant that I could actually get the artworks coming in from the graphic designers, get them uploaded into the system, approve the proofs online, and get the jobs delivered back so that when I returned to the UK, they were all ready to go. So, yeah, I think the convenience is so important. I kind of have this view that we should always try and take the problem off our customers' desk. Um, and I think if we do that, then we build great loyalty. Okay, so moving on to our the final question that I have. This one is about are you seeing a reduction in the volume of orders coming through print management companies following the COVID-19 pandemic? I think Keith, why don't we get your perspective on this one first?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question because it's something that we've noticed a lot over the last 7 or 8 months. There's less and less work coming from print management companies, and the main reason for this is a lot more clients are coming direct, and it's important. From there they've focused on cost saving as well. A lot of our clients, and they see
Yeah,
that over the years that we've been the third party, if you like, we're at the end of the chain. We're printing their work, we're dispatching their work. In a lot of cases, we're installing their work. Why do they need a print management company? And what we found is that with a number of clients, certainly over the last 12 months, that they're trying to eliminate costs themselves. And it's been good for us because we've actually got a higher rate ourselves without excess money being put on by print management companies. And it's been a win-win situation. They're dealing direct, they're getting the right story. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not decrying print management companies because there is a place for them. But as
sure.
I say, from what we've noticed, a lot less work from them, and more clients coming direct.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for the insight. Um, Javier, I'm going to ask you to give us your perspective on this one next, if you would be so kind.
Well, it's hard to say. I would say not really, because in my opinion, PMCs exist since a lot of years ago. They will be there in the future too, because I think that sometimes the customer wants to reduce their staff, so they want to be supported by a PMC, but other times they need to have more control on the production. For example, I have one customer. Last month, we had something like 20,000 units in 500 different artworks, and putting a third party in between is not a good idea. So it's you can print with that directly or with a PMC. I think that it is not all about the cost, because you can reduce your staff when you count on a PMC, but it's true that you have less control and you are farther from the printer. And there are some customers who prefer one option or the other. We are comfortable either way. And well, for us, PMCs or direct customers, both are customers. So we don't we are not worried about it.
Okay. And out of interest, do you find that they are providing more expertise on sustainability, or do you think that you actually can manage all of that kind of from in-house? Does it just not make any difference to you?
Sorry,
He's looking
a
to.
question for me, Graham?
Yes, please,
Oh,
Christoph.
sorry, don't hurry. Okay. Um, just something about print management company. Something to say that I try to don't work for them because in France there are a lot of print management company and they are very strong. And it's very, for me, in my opinion, it's very dangerous to work for them because if we put a foot in your company, you put the other one, and after you can't be free on your business. But I know that they lose a lot of business for sure because all the retail are closed, the retail business closed, all the event, etc., etc. For me, we actually, and if we want to think about the future, there is two things very important. There is environmental solution, green solution for sure. We have to work on it, and the creativity. And why I speak about creativity because this is the only solution to be totally different on the market. But it's easy to speak about creativity, but it's difficult to propose it. But
Achieve it.
we have because we are very lucky because we are in a business that we can create it. We can create the business every day, and we can print what we think on what we want and be different. It's what I want to say for everybody, and we try to do this every day.
I certainly echo your perspective that there is such an incredible set of opportunities for creative thinking around wide format. You know, with the introduction of white inks, of clear inks, of UV, latex across all the technologies. It's a fantastic space, and it takes uh, getting your thinking cap on to be making the best of it all. Gents, I know you'll be aware of time, and we've had a great conversation this morning, and I'd like to say thank you so much for your interesting answers. I'm sure that you, like me, are looking forward to hearing about the product launches and developments that will follow over the next couple of days. Um, I would I think from FESPA's point of view, you know, we are very grateful for your contribution, and it's been really really interesting. So, uh, Keith, I think it's about time you probably go and have some dinner soon. And Javier, Christoph, the rest of us will have to conclude our working days, facing whatever problems may be outside of the room. So thank you so much for your participation.